Hey, chosen ones. Mama TC's back in the house. How you doing? We're going on to part two. Part two. How it do? Anyway, we talking about here how Mother's Day or Father's Day, it's not always all roses. I mean, this we got going on here today. Listen, some of these kids ain't got nan bit of respect, man. They don't. And now, like I said in the first part, this is part two. You know, some of it is deserved because there are parents out there that ain't been doing the darn thing, and there's trauma that these kids have endured. These children, I don't like saying the word kids. We know that mean baby goats or whatever. So our children, okay, regarding their children, sometimes they grow up and they go on and do their own things, and they don't really have much to do with us. But listen here, let me tell you something, Linda. I got to tell you, okay? Listen, sometimes it's more so that this society, that the way society is today, like 2 Timothy said, in the end times, people are going to become lovers of their self. I brought that up in the last video too. Now, we grew up, Generation X, I can't speak for everybody what generation they're from. But in my generation, we learned, thou shalt, honor their mother and father in the 10 Commandments. Now, but, you're coming up into a time where people are starting to look and observe and see that their parents have faults. And they call them out on that. That was not allowed in my generation. Even if your parents made mistakes, you respect them no matter what. You just respect them. They took care of you. They sheltered you, your clothing. Now, I can't speak for the ones that have, children that have endured abuse and trauma. You may be justified in that, like I said before. So this is not for you. This video here is for chosen ones that are having a difficult time decluttering and trying to let go and release themselves from hanging on to their children, because children are grown and they've moved on, and there's really nothing you could do about it. If you have shifted on in to the new earth, 5D, and you have awakened, and they're not aligned with you. It's not just children this is happening to, other loved ones in your family, any loved one. If they're not aligning up with you, it's not your fault the majority of the time. They're not on the same wavelength. If they're holding on and they know how to hold a grudge or have harbored resentment and all this kind of stuff, there's not much you could do unless they themselves turn to the Most High and clean themselves out and align themselves and then shift. That's not up to you. That's an individual thing. What we have to understand as parents is that our children are individuals, and we've gotten attached to the thing of raising them and they mind, and that's it. And so this is to help those parents, because I'm one myself that I've had to go through this stuff, and a lot of my majority of my shifting was decluttering from this. I had so much trouble letting go of the youngest. Oh yes. And it's not letting go of them. You ain't never going to let go for your children. But in order to be respected, you can't demand respect. Respect don't work by demanding it or yelling at them or calling them out in their indifferences. When you call them out, oh, you didn't show up, you didn't call, you left me hanging, no, you can't be doing that. Operate in silence as a chosen one and exemplify that dignity in which you wish to inspire others. When you inspire them, that's how you get them back with the respect. Respect is inspired, not demanded, not earned, but inspired. Okay, so let's go back further, continue on in part 2. So we were talking about invisible dynamics, being that sometimes we let them see for years and years ourselves in a negative light in front of these children. And remember, they're sponges. Like I said, they download information. And these are things that we shouldn't have let them see. And during that time, we should have spoken up, but we were silent on certain matters where we shouldn't have been. They absorbed all that. They held it in. And once they get older, they reflect that and showing you, well, so-and-so disrespected you. He's watched you be disrespected over the years. You allowed it. So that's why we doing it. That's not cool. Okay, so that's called invisible dynamics. They played out over years. Maybe your children grew up watching you sacrifice everything for them, not seeking anything in return, but they mistook your love for unconditional availability. I'm guilty of that. Maybe you tried to be the perfect parent and let things slide until one day it became routine. And that became unappreciated. You became unappreciated. Look at it as like this example right here. Imagine, okay, say you got a favorite chair in your household the kids grew up around. In that corner, there's this wonderful wooden chair, but it's faded over years into the background. No one utilizes it, barely anymore. It's no longer appreciated. Then one day that chair breaks, right? And nobody misses it when, because it's all broken and crinkly up and it's put somewhere, or someone's getting rid of it, or they're thinking about getting rid of it. That's how they treated you. Not because you're not important, but because without realizing it, you allowed yourself to be always seen as guaranteed. Always available, always present, without needing to be acknowledged. Now, Marcus Aurelius, he said one time, respect isn't negotiated with words, but with actions. If you want to reclaim your children in your life or loved ones in your life, and you want them to see you with the same respect they show others that they value, then stop acting like a silent present. Move like someone who knows your worth. Using strategic presence, not in coldness or being distant. Speak in front of them with few words. Precise words, firm. Affirm your words. Know what you're going to say before you even say it. Make sure they're firm words, but speak in few. Don't go too much and embellish, because remember, they absorb everything you say, and they'll twist it and think different things than what came out of your mouth. So make them few words. When they seek you out, let it be because they have something to offer. Not that you require them to do something for you, but they need to have something to offer. They need to be seeking you out. True respect comes when the other person fears losing you, not when they believe that they can ignore you without consequences. Know that you don't need their validation to live with dignity. Everybody deserves to live with dignity. That broken chair that nobody noticed after a time can become a brand new table. It could be used as firewood for a brand new flame. Find renewed peace in it, in a chair that could be repaired and given a new shiny coat with new character. It's all on how you see yourself, you see? That inspires for them to see you differently and become inspired again once more in you. You got to be exemplifying that dignity and demanding respect, but not come out your mouth without demand respect. Act like you deserve respect and you will get respect, okay? Set boundaries. It's okay to set fair boundaries. Free yourself from the emotional tie to their decision to cut you off. If they decided to cut you off, free yourself from that emotional tie. This is how. Now, first, we need to dismantle your hope for them to change. Now that we understand respect isn't earned, it's inspired, you can truly see that you should stop expecting too much from them. You've become emotionally dependent and tied to their choices, their timing, their way of treating you, their way of ignoring you. They rarely call, they barely speak, but why are you still giving them power to dictate how you feel? Stop. Let go. Time to let go of this emotional dependence. What you don't realize is in every disappointing leaving you out of something, unanswering your calls or text messages, they're not showing up or being a no-show or canceling at the last minute, you make yourself a prisoner waiting around for this stuff. You're a prisoner to their will. Your mood, doesn't it rise and fall based on this, based on how much attention they give you? Forget their attention. You don't need to be pining after them, seeking them to give you attention. They look at you as a whiny, here she go, Ma called and she just listen, that is not what you want to reflect to them. You want to inspire them to give you the respect, okay? This is a kind of slavery you're allowing. Epictetus once said, stop suffering what's not up to you. Stop suffering over what is not up to you. It's not up to you how they're going to feel and how they're going to act. It's up to them. Start allowing them to be grown-ups now and take accountability and responsibility for their actions. They don't treat you with respect, then ain't nobody sitting around waiting on them. You got your life to live, and it's time. And one thing me and Moni talk about all the time is it's time for me to live. I'm not going to sit up and let this child run me. Ain't happening. It's time for us to live. You come into this when you realize as you get older that you deserve better treatment, okay? She and me are the same age, so we know. And then I've sat and watched what happened with my parents and other people's parents when they got older and they left behind in nursing homes and people didn't care. Listen, if that's what it's going to be, that's what it's going to be, whatever. I don't know how it's going to end up. But when you got at least one person that shows you that love and sticks around, that's the one that deserves your respect. But the one that don't respect you, don't waste all your time on them. We're going to get into this in part 3 coming up. Because remember, people have their own lives and demons, and they won't change just because you ask them to. If they did, would you want your happiness to be based on the forced sense of them being willing?